So in this video, we're going to look at blocks to learning, or as we call them, trolls to learning. So I've been in the teaching profession of some kind my entire life. I come from a family of teachers. It's what I love. And something that is a little frustrating for me, sometimes kind of sad, is when I see people that have blocks to learning. You know, life's all about learning from the day we're born, hopefully, until the day we die. And things can get in the way of that. Yeah, things can get in the way of that. A classic example is when I'm teaching a workshop and I come in and the audience knows everything already. Yeah, so the troll, we call them the troll. The troll is like a monster that lives under a bridge. We'll see why we call it that later. But the troll there is, I know everything. So it's very difficult to teach someone who knows everything already, because there isn't the openness or the humility. And I feel, you know, sometimes it's very confusing to me when people spend a lot of money and they come a long way to come do a workshop and they have this attitude of knowing everything already. So this body-mind attitude, we could call a troll of learning, that gets in the way of learning. Equally, we can talk about friends of learning as well. We'll come to that. So a classic one is I know everything. Another one would be having to be funny the whole time, like having to make jokes all the time. And I love humor. You know, it's a big part of me and my culture. However, this is often a defense when I'm teaching embodiment work, corporate work as well. It's a defense against people, how can I put this, like not wanting to feel, a defense against being vulnerable, basically. So can hyper-intellectualizing, have to be clever, have to know everything, have to be funny. Notice I usually phrase this as a have to, yeah? So there's a lack of freedom here. There's not just a lack of learning, there's a tyranny, a self-tyranny that's being unconsciously played out. So it's not conscious, you know, people aren't assholes, right? They're generally not turning up and being like, right, I'm gonna be defensive and make lots of jokes or think I know everything already. It's just an unconscious pattern. And what can become is really, really helpful is to become aware of them. Yeah, is to become aware of them, and then we bring the troll out from under the bridge where the monster lives, and we see it's more like one of those cute little toy trolls. Google it. Google toy troll, if you don't know what I mean, T-R-O-L. And we realize it's actually quite sweet, and it's a part of us which is trying to keep us safe, maybe. Maybe it developed in our childhood as a way of being. It developed as a way to look after ourselves, but it's not so useful now. So then we just stroke the troll on the head and say, not today. Yeah, so I have these two if I'm in a training myself. It might be have to look good, you know, that's a common one. These are partly cultural. So for example, have to look good is when I say in France, or have to be clever. You know, I'm in Russia right now, so in Russia we see different trolls from France, for example, different trolls from Ireland, where it might be have to be funny. I see that one in Ireland. Have to be tough, have to be strong. That could be a very Russian male one, for example. Yeah, and we see these, and we see them for what they are, which is just patterns to try and keep us safe. And then we choose to step into a different embodiment, maybe to center ourselves. That's a familiar idea. And we realize they're not us, they're just patterns. They're just patterns, so we don't have to be too, attached to our trolls. You know, trolls can sometimes look nice, like have to be nice. You know, that can be a barrier to learning. Have to be sweet the whole time, have to please people. Yeah, you'll see these kind of trolls as well. So they're not always monstrous, you know, they can be quite sweet. However, anything that gets in the way of our learning is perhaps not helpful in the learning context. We could also think of friends of learning, so as not to be too negative. Oh, I should just credit Newfield Coaching is where the original idea of trolls of learning, I got that idea from. So credit to Newfield Coaching there. Of course, the idea is older than them, but they coined that term. And I thought, you know what, it can be a bit negative just to focus on the trolls. So we might also want to look at the friends of learning. So some people are naturally inclined towards curiosity, for example, yeah? And even something like being a bit challenging can be a friend of learning. You know, to say, you know, what, does this really work? Let's test it, you know? I often say be skeptical but not cynical. So I sometimes say, don't believe me. Actually believing everything the teacher says, making them a guru, that's a troll. And actually being a little skeptical and testing things, finding out for yourself, that's a friend, yeah? So other friends of learning might be to be curious, a little playfulness, you know, without making a joke about everything. Sometimes to be serious. We can see our friends of learning too, if you're a playful person or a very focused person or curious person. So there's a little bit on trolls of learning. And really, you're probably watching this video if you're about to come to one of my courses or with my colleagues. I just don't want you to waste your time, right? I don't want you to waste your time, your money, your energy, and my time, you know, my energy too. So this is why we often look at trolls at the before or at the beginning of courses. So I hope this is helpful.